Jeff, there's not much left of summer.
Right.
This may be one of our last chances to get out on the lake before the weather turns.
Especially this far north. We're back on Lake Memphremagog in northern Vermont. In fact, most of this lake can be found on the Canadian side of the border.
Right. I mean, you can't go any further north than where we are without a passport.
That's true.
We've been to this lake twice before.
Yeah, we have.
We came here looking for fur-bearing trout way back in 2020.
Right.
That was peculiar. And we came here looking for a local eccentric they called Little Maggie back in May. Remember that one?
I do. This lake is legendary. No question about it.
Now, if we're back here again, I'm guessing we didn't catch everything the first 2 times.
No, we didn't. And maybe we saved the best for last. Or at the very least, I think we saved the biggest for last.
Okay, I'm listening.
So we rowed our boat out into the middle of Lake Memphremagog in northern Vermont to use ourselves as bait to try to find a lake monster they call Memfray. Hey, I'm Jeff Belanger, and welcome to episode 316 of the New England Legends podcast.
And I'm Ray Auger. Thank you for joining us on our mission to chronicle every legend in New England one story at a time. We can't do it without you. If you've got a strange tale for us to check out, please reach out to us anytime through our website and tell us about it. And also subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Thursday and from the vault every Monday.
So we'll go searching for Memfray, the lake monster, right after this word from our sponsor.
Great. So we're bait for a lake monster?
I know. Pretty cool, right?
No, it's not cool at all. I hate fish.
All right.
So the only thing I could hate more than fish is a lake monster.
Yeah, this tiny rowboat in the middle of the lake is a tough spot for someone with your phobia.
This lake is huge.
Yeah.
31 miles long, 41 square miles of surface area, and it's 350 feet deep at its deepest point.
That's a lot of water.
And we're out here in a little rowboat.
Right. So if Memfray, or Gog, as he's also called sometimes, decided to rear up right now, I mean, we're literally sunk.
Then we're going to need a bigger boat.
That's probably true, Ray, but this is the best we can do on our budget. Anyway, Memfray is described as a giant serpent of a creature, though witnesses can't be sure if it's a serpent or just a long neck attached to a dinosaur-like body.
So like a giant slimy creature either way.
Yeah, that's right. Though the earliest sightings date back to the year 1816, we're going to travel back to 1995 and search for Memfray, the lake monster.
It's August of 1995. The height of the tourist season is here at Lake Memphremagog in northern Vermont. It's been a busy summer between boating and water skiing, barbecues, camping, fishing, swimming, and all the other great activities we do around the lake.
But in the middle of all this summer fun, there's some stories floating around. Stories about a monster.
Now, people who grew up around Lake Memphremagog, or even those who have visited the lake more than once, have already heard the stories about a strange creature. Every now and then, there's a sighting, sometimes even a photo, and everyone starts buzzing about it again.
That's been the case this past summer. One witness saw a giant serpent-like movement near the surface of the water.
With the waves from boats and everything else, could that really just be one animal?
No, I get it. I mean, sometimes there could be multiple fish feeding on bugs or whatever, but people who know the lake know the lake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I'm sure some locals pride themselves on knowing just about every creature that's ever lurked in and around the lake. But mistakes can be made.
Of course, absolutely. And sometimes you see something you just can't figure out. And the legend of Memfray grows.
Do you think we're in any danger here?
So there have been no reports of human attacks, but when you see something 30 feet long or bigger gliding through the lake, I mean, you can't help but do the math and wonder if it could swallow you whole.
Now, considering there have been hundreds of sightings over the years, wouldn't you think we'd have some kind of proof by now?
Well, short of killing or capturing the animal, I'm not sure what kind of proof we could even get other than these eyewitness accounts and photos and videos. But I can tell you this. It's against state law to kill Memfray if you find it.
You're kidding.
No. Check out this article from the March 18th, 1987 Burlington Free Press.
All right, the headline reads, House passes Memfray monster of a resolution. The article goes on to say, quote, the House Tuesday passed a resolution on Memfray that says the animal should be protected from harm and encourages scientific inquiry into the existence of unusual animals in Lake Memphremagog. That's funny.
I know, but kind of cool, right? And, of course, not everyone voted on the resolution. Check out the quote from Representative Frank DiPrato.
Now, he's quoted here saying, If we keep this up, we'll have monsters in every pond in Vermont. I think it's ridiculous that we get involved in something like this. I think we should be doing something more constructive with our time.
You know, I bet that guy is no fun at parties.
Probably not.
However, whether Memfray needs state protection or not, there is someone from the Canadian side who's been working on gathering more evidence. In fact, he's been credited with coining the name Memfray. His name is Jacques Beauvais.
Jacques Beauvais is a historian, an ecologist, a monster hunter, and a prolific scuba diver. Beauvais was born in 1933 in the town of Magog, which sits on the northern side of the lake in Canada. Back in 1978, he began collecting reports of lake monster sightings. He had searched through newspaper archives and found many reports of a strange creature in the lake. He'd heard the First Nations people legends of the lake monster, and he knew locals whispered about the monster if you got a few drinks in them sometimes. So Beauvais made it his mission to chronicle these sightings and take them public.
So once he'd gathered over 40 accounts of sightings, Beauvais went public. And given the many credible and rational reports of eyewitnesses, Beauvais wanted to take a closer look for himself. So he started diving Lake Memphremagog looking for the creature or where it might dwell. I mean, maybe an underwater cave, maybe some other place. Beauvais dove and began searching.
Dozens of scuba dives in the lake eventually turned into hundreds and then thousands over the years. Any chance he got, he dived the lake looking for evidence.
Over decades of doing this, Beauvais has become a magnet for these encounters. Now, when someone sees or photographs something strange, they usually reach out to him.
It had the head of an ox, but half as big, similar to the head of a horse. We could see movement over a distance of approximately 2,000 feet. Nearby there was a couple, and when I shouted to them to look, the creature plunged and didn't return to the surface.
Witness after witness tells similar stories. Sometimes a photo pops up showing something in the water that looks strange. These encounters turn up year-round, except in the winter when the lake freezes over.
And Jacques Beauvais catalogs as many as he finds out about, which is most of them. In his dives, he uses underwater cameras. He uses sonar. He investigates various regions around the lake where sightings have occurred. All of this work and research turns Memfray into a bit of a cottage industry. And that brings us back to today. So on the Canadian side, in Beauvais' hometown of Magog, the Memfray Tower was erected in 2003. It's a covered platform on the shore where visitors can walk up and gaze out over the lake and look for Memfray sightings.
Jacques Beauvais was a guest of honor at the dedication of the tower when it opened. Sadly, Beauvais died from a heart attack February 4th, 2006, though his legacy lives on.
That it does. Not only did he log over 5,000 dives in the lake looking for this creature, he started a website called Memfray.com. Outside of his office in Canada, there was a sign that reads, the International Dracontology Society of Lake Memphremagog.
Now, what's dracontology?
So Beauvais felt that cryptozoology was too broad of a term. So dracontology deals with hidden animals associated with lakes. He pushed the term enough to get it accepted in the American Heritage Dictionary, and of course, the Memfray sightings continue to this day. In fact, there was a sighting September 4th, 2022 at 6:16 p.m. that was captured on camera and uploaded to YouTube. We'll post a link to it from our website. But Ray, go ahead and take a look at this video.
All right. Oh, it was obviously taken with a cell phone.
Sure.
Now, the lake looks really calm.
Yep.
But yeah, in the water in the distance, I can see what looks like a long snake sort of moving in a straight line in the water. Tough to judge the distance and size, but it's clearly pretty long and moving in a wave-like way just at the surface of the water. Wow.
And the legend continues. Documented sightings for 200 years, folklore legends that go back much further than that, which makes you think there must be something big in the waters of Lake Memphremagog.
And we would assume that this must be a species of sorts, not a single animal, right?
Yeah, right. So a snake can live up to 30 years in the wild. Some species of turtle can live for centuries. So maybe we don't have all the answers here, but yes, you'd assume that there would need to be more than two of these creatures for them to continue on.
And no one has ever found a dead one?
Not yet. Unless it, maybe it sinks to the deepest part of the lake when it dies and it's lost.
More questions than answers once again.
The best legends do that. They force us to take a second look at the world we thought we knew.
After seeing that video and reading some of the eyewitness descriptions, I guess I can't help but stare out on the lake a little longer than I would have otherwise.
And that's the power of a legend. We can't help but want to become part of it with our own sighting.
And that brings us to After the Legend, where we take a deeper dive into this week's story. Sometimes we swim off course.
I get it. Hey, After the Legend is brought to you by our Patreon patrons. Just $3 a month for exclusive ad-free and early access to all of our new episodes, plus bonus episodes and content no one else gets to hear. Hey, plus you're supporting the content you love. We appreciate it and are asking you for your help. Just head over to patreon.com/New England Legends to sign up. And if you'd like to see some pictures of Lake Memphremagog and links to that YouTube video and other sightings, click on the link in our episode description or head to our website and click on episode 316.
The video is very telling.
It is, and that's just one. I mean, there's others.
And not only do you see like a body, but I felt like you could see a shadow behind it.
Yeah.
Moving as well. So it was a lot longer than what was cresting,
right.
I guess.
It's tough to tell. You don't know how far that is from the boat.
Right.
Assume they're on a boat. Or
there's
the
a
shore.
gardener snake. That's all it was.
A big one. Right. I mean, there are
5
water
feet away
snakes.
from the boat.
I know, but the thing is, like, everybody knows Memfray. If you're up around the lake, everyone knows Memfray, the lake monster.
Yeah.
It's been around. It's like, and by the way, describing it as like a ox-like head or a horse-like head, it's exactly how people have described Champy, Lake Champlain.
Well, there's been so many sightings of these sea creatures in lakes,
Right,
lake creatures.
lake creatures, yeah.
So, I mean, it's not so hard to believe that this could be a species that we don't know about that can elude us at any given time.
It's 2023, and it makes some people nuts that we have not cataloged every creature on this earth yet.
I know, right? But we still find new species every day.
We do. But it's usually like, okay, new type of fish that looks a lot like another type of fish, but some scientist is telling me, like, well, this is the bluefin bass,
right?
Not the redfin bass.
Or it's an insect
right.
that they find in the jungles.
Right. But don't you think the skeptics would say, don't we know the big ones by now?
I guess, unless they're smarter than we think. You know, maybe they hide when they know they're supposed to hide.
Right.
And maybe every once in a while they just tease us a bit.
So dolphins are smart, right?
Right.
Whales? There is a freshwater dolphin.
Is there really?
Not in America, but there is such a thing as a freshwater dolphin. I forget where. But anyway, so who knows what creature might have evolved and has been that smart. But yeah, Loch Ness Monster, Champy the lake monster, Memfray the lake monster. But what blew me away was that eyewitness account that said, the head like an ox and then long snaky body. And I'm like, that's exactly how they described Champy.
Right.
Which would sort of make the rational person think there is some serpent out there that's big. It's in lakes that have to be large lakes. Champlain is huge. Memphremagog is huge. And it just must be out there.
Could be related to a snake.
Right. Could be just some sort of snake that we haven't really cataloged yet.
It's funny. Once something becomes a legend, then we automatically don't believe it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But there's animals everywhere.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of weird creatures. The platypus. If that was a legend and nobody ever saw one really, we wouldn't believe that.
Wait, what did you see? What did it look like? Well, it had a duck, like a bill like a duck, but it was furry. I'm like, oh, God.
Right.
Put the beer down. You've had too much.
Yeah, but then somebody caught one. They're like, see, look, I was telling the truth.
Oh, my. I owe you an apology, sir. Right? Like,
and someday we'll pull one of these out and be like, look, we were right all along.
And by the way, no one's ever said like it shoots lasers out of its eyes and it levitates above the water, right?
Yeah. It's in the realm of belief.
It acts like an animal.
Yeah,
it acts like a snake going through the water. It doesn't do anything supernatural or preternatural.
It's not killing anybody.
No,
yet.
Not as far as we know.
Right.
It's just out there like hunting fish or whatever.
Yeah.
So but why do people struggle so much to think like, well, it can't possibly be real?
Because they've never seen it.
They've never seen it.
It's just like ghosts and UFOs, and if you haven't seen it, it doesn't exist. For most people.
And that gets down to the heart of it. This is not really asking someone to stretch.
Right.
Right. I get when I say like, hey, there's a ghost. Like I'm asking you to maybe stretch a little bit. Or there's an alien or a UFO. Like
there's an animal in the water. No way.
Right. No, really.
It's big. Nah, that doesn't happen.
Not in a body of water this big. Right?
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because these bodies of water are very large. We're not saying this is happening in a pond.
No. I know. So yeah, and yet the people just immediately like clam up and go, well, it can't be right. It's a shame. Like we just, and I think this is the world we live in. We draw lines too hard in the sand and then stay on one side of them.
Do you think Loch Ness, that legend has been around forever?
Sure.
Do you think because it's a legend, and I guess we just talked about this, but because it's a legend and it's been in the history books for so long, it's one of those legends we don't believe in? Like
Right.
it's obviously an animal in the water.
Yeah.
But because Loch Ness has been classified as a legend nobody could ever see, blah, 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 it's not real.
Right.
So if there was no Loch Ness monster, we may today think that this is a real animal. She may have ruined it for us, Nessie.
But probably ruined it for everybody,
Yeah.
Nessie, yeah. So Lauren Coleman, who runs the International Cryptozoology Museum, there's a plug for you, Lauren. Not a sponsor, but,
I think we've talked about her before as well.
him.
Him.
Yes, right.
What's the name?
Lauren Coleman.
Lauren. Okay, well, you can understand.
I understand. Yeah, you're forgiven. So he runs the museum up there in Maine, and this is the thing they struggle with. They understand the story is often a good lead to a new discovery.
Sure.
If someone's like, "Hey, we're seeing this albino ape, in the woods," you go, "Oh, well, that can happen. It's extremely rare." But then you go and maybe you find it.
Blue lobsters. We find those every once in a great while.
And they make the news.
Yeah.
They'll make like the local TV news. Someone will film it with their phone, send it into the news channel, and they go, "Wow, blue lobster was found." How cool
But if
is that?
somebody said, I saw a blue lobster, did you catch it? No.
Oh, you're lying.
You might not believe it. Right.
Right, you're lying.
Lobsters are red. There's no way.
So we live in such an interesting time when it comes to hunting these kinds of legends because we're all armed with cameras. We've talked about this, right? So now, like your first instinct, when you see something incredible, like you're grabbing for your phone, right? Whether that incredible thing is like, Jeff just lit his hair on fire and he's doing shots at the bar. Like, what's the first thing you're going to do? Try to help me?
No, grab my camera.
Grab your camera.
I was driving today. This is funny you say this because I was driving today and I was in Franklin. I'm at a stoplight, so I had time. But this woman crossed the street and she had tight pants on and a bikini top, long blonde hair, and she was very weathered, like she just lives in the sun. And she was whipping her hair around and kind of making all these dance moves. I went right for my phone, but then it turned green. I'm like, oh, I missed it.
Right.
But it was amazing. I saw this weird thing in the wild, and I'm like, I got to photograph that.
This is why you have 2 TikTok followers instead of like 2 million, right? If you had just been a second earlier, right, and you set that to music, you'd be a TikTok sensation.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
How quick are you with your phone? Are you pretty quick? Can you? Because you're in positions all the time to try to capture something. Do you have the phone open if you're in that kind of situation, like ready to go?
I did a thing with Frank Grace, photographer. We did an investigation of this place in Dedham, which I'll tell more about as we get a little further along.
Ooh.
But we were holding cameras because the whole point is like if something weird happens, I want to be rolling.
So if you're ever in that situation, chances are you have a camera rolling.
Something's already rolling because exactly that, like, oh, what, you're going to see something and be like, you're going to have to take my word for it, which is usually what happens.
And no one will believe you.
And thus the cycle continues. But yeah, no, that's, but lake monsters are different. You're there with your kids, you're having a picnic, you're taking pictures of the kids in video, and then boom, this thing rears its head and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So yeah. And the internet's filling up. And the funny thing to me is like that YouTube video, and I encourage you, go click on the episode description. We'll embed it right there on the webpage. You can see it. Click on YouTube videos. I don't know what that is, right?
Sure. You can't explain it.
I can't, but it's sizable.
It's something.
Yeah, it is a very sizable creature moving at the surface of the water. I've been to plenty of lakes. You've been to plenty of lakes.
Yeah, lived on one.
You don't really see that.
No.
So anyway, it's an intriguing little bit of evidence, and you combine that with all the stories. There's a literal tower. It looks like one of the fire towers in the woods. Like you can go up, 20, 30 feet, sit in this nice covered tower and look out over the lake. It's a beautiful view anyway, even if you're not into lake monsters. But they call it the Memfray Tower because why not? You're up there. What, are you not going to look?
You're going to look, but then I would be afraid I wouldn't leave because it's like 10 minutes. Like, oh, if I wait another 10 minutes, I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
Sweetie, can we hang out for another half hour? Because I think if a half hour, I'll see it.
We're getting dinner, Ray. I'll meet you
late.
later.
Yeah.
It's sunsetting. You can, when it's dark to see anyway, we'll see you back at the room.
Right.
No, I get it. And that's, we've talked about this too. Like when you know the story, if you're at Lake Memphremagog, are you going to just avert your eyes?
And you might see something that you didn't really see, only because you want to.
Yeah, sure.
And this, regarding the video, there's also issues with technology.
Yep.
In today's day and age, AI and Photoshop and manipulation, that's something you got to take into consideration. Everybody's trying to get that video out there that goes viral, and some will do whatever it takes.
This one is not that, right? And you can tell by like how many views it's had, and nobody's monetizing it. It's just there. It's just a strange thing that someone's like, hey, which is, by the way, I'd like to think that's exactly what I would do if I caught something weird in the lake. Yeah, I would be like, Look,
I'll just throw it out there. I'm not monetizing it. Yeah.
Right. This lake has this reputation. I caught this video. Discuss.
Not telling you what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it looks kind of fishy.
Go ahead and discuss.
Yeah.
And let's see what people do. And people get angry. And of course, there's the trolls and everything else. And,
Yeah.
and the believers are like, that's Memfray. You captured him. It's proof that this lake monster's there. The skeptics will say, well, that's totally inconclusive. And you say, I agree with you. It's inconclusive. It's weird, though. It's not something I usually see in the lake.
You've always been like that ever since I've known you. Because I think one of the first questions I asked you was, do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah.
And I think you said, I believe in something. I don't know what it is, though.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I do believe in ghosts. But
yeah, but there was another
what they
question
are.
I asked you, and it wasn't so paranormal. Your answer was not paranormal.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I've seen some strange things. And
You were very grounded with your answer,
I've
as
used-
opposed to most paranormal guys.
I hear you, but I've used labels like ghost,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
monster, and lake serpent, and all that other stuff, because I don't have another word.
Yeah.
Right, that's the best I can do.
Maybe it was, are ghosts real? And you were like, I don't know. I've had situations where that I can't explain, and I wanted something more meaty.
At this point, I would say yes to that.
Yeah.
I would say ghosts are absolutely real, indisputably
You've come
real.
a long way in the last 10 years.
Can't argue that they're real. What they are,
Right.
that we can argue, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's a word for a thing
Yeah.
makes
right.
it a thing.
Yeah. There's
Right.
even a stamp for it.
There's a stamp. There's there's a word for it. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't need a word for it. So yeah. But no, we live in an amazing time with all kinds of technology, and maybe some more of these sightings come up. Maybe someone gets something a little more conclusive on the lake there, and then we put that one to bed, and maybe we announce a brand new species.
You know what I am happy about? That you can't kill Memfre.
Yeah. So someone's out there with an oar, like bang, 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 and then the
Coast Guard pulls
got
up
him.
with the lake
Yeah,
police.
right. Yeah, the lake police like roll up and go, that's against state law, right? And it's been against state law for decades.
Yeah.
It's not like
You're
it
going
just,
to jail.
just passed. Like, congratulations, that's totally awesome. You're going to jail.
Yeah, you can't benefit from your fine because
Right.
you'll be in jail.
That's right. That's right.
If you've got a strange story you'd like us to check out, please reach out to us anytime through our website. And do us a favor, post a review of our show. Tell a friend or two about us. It goes a long way in growing our community. Speaking of community, you should also check out our super secret New England Legends Facebook group. More than 8,500 members strong.
Not a good secret at all. We'd like to thank Michael Legge for lending his voice acting talents this week. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you so much to our Patreon patrons. And our theme music is by John Judd.
Until next time, remember,
The bizarre is closer than you think.